Hi, if you don't know me, I'm Ange, Hot Girl Healing 1111 or 444, depending where you follow me. I think my other ats that have now been banned have been I was started out as Angela P on TikTok, Angela P 1111, and then I was Ghost Tits for a little while. I had rainbow hair, I had brown hair, I've been everything. But I just want to share a little bit about me. So I live in Green Bay, Wisconsin. I'm a mother to a 10-year-old, almost 11-year-old little boy and a 22-year-old stepson. So I've been raising kids for a while. I worked in corporate finance for 22 years. And then I accidentally blew up as a tarot reader on TikTok during quarantine. I was so bored, I joined a yoga class, and the young girls in the class were reading tarot. I had no idea what it was. And I was like, oh, we started out watching Quietest Revolution, Amber Khan on YouTube all the time. And so I got a deck of cards because I was starting to realize that I had spiritual gifts, and I was starting to be visited by ancestors, and I was going through divorce, and I met a guy that I believed was my twin flame. So things were starting to happen. I had a Kundalini awakening, and I got some tarot cards because I was like, well, I'm Italian, so I'll dive into my own heritage and background. And so I bought tarot cards thinking, oh, they're Italian. And then here's what I will say. The minute I picked up a deck of cards, before I had even started reading the book telling me the definitions, I was like, oh my gosh, the pictures just tell you. The minute I see them, I know what that means, and it gives me a story. And that's what I've been doing, looking for signs to make sense of the world of my entire life. That's how I kind of live my life. So I was already walking the shamanic path before I was even walking the shamanic path, because I was always connecting with spirit and looking for signs to make sense of things. So I started out by reading for friends and family just for fun, and I would pull 3 cards and I would go look up the meaning in my book, and then I would combine that with my intuitive knowingness and tell them what I think they needed to know, and they were all like, oh my god, that's spot on. And then side note, people were saying also my grandfather always said that, or also, and I'm like, that's so funny. My whole life people always tell me something I sing or something I say is something one of their loved ones on the other side really always said or did. So I was like, oh my gosh, what if this whole time I've been channeling and it really wasn't coming from me? All this great advice as a corporate leader and such, and my family is Sicilian. My dad's 100% Sicilian, and they're very intuitive and superstitious, and we believe in the evil eye, all that stuff. And we've been religious. So this isn't that crazy, but it's just kind of different. And I'm like, what? Leaning into it. And so then, of course, I was using tarot cards to try to figure out what my twin flame was doing while we were in twin flame separation. And I noticed that the cards I was pulling for myself, so every morning I would pull cards on the divine feminine energy and then the divine masculine energy, because I would want to know what I need to work on and what he was doing. I don't know. That was my thought anyway. And I noticed I would pull those cards and then I'd see those same cards come up in my TikTok tarot feed. And I was like, that's so weird. Why are they pulling the same cards as me? What does that mean? And so I was like, well, maybe I'm supposed to post. So I've always loved social media. So I started just posting, and literally I posted a video. I think it was the first day I did it might have been the second, and then I went and logged in for work because I was working virtual, and during the day it blew up, and I think I had almost 10,000 followers immediately, because I remember I was able to do the creator fund right away. It blew up fast, and literally that day people were messaging me saying, how can I pay you for a reading? And I was like, oh. So I had enough background and knowledge about how to set up a website quickly, and I just used Wix to set mine up, and boom, I was taking orders. And so now nights and weekends when I didn't have my little guy and I wasn't working because I had no life, because I just got divorced and it's quarantine, you can't do anything, I was meeting with all of you via Zoom and with recorded YouTube readings. I wasn't going live, and so I was just so busy doing that. I would just be all Saturday, or the nights I was doing it back to back to back, just Zoom one after another. And it was great. It was just a lot. And then I didn't understand how it was happening, so I went in search of teachers. I was like, what the fuck? My pastor didn't know, my therapist didn't know. So I was going to study Reiki under a woman I was going to Reiki for, and she's the one that was like, I don't know, you're really obsessed with past lives. Have you ever thought of shamanism? And I didn't really know much about it, so she sent me some links, and I ended up studying shamanism. at Golden Light Healing in Sobieski, Wisconsin. So the owner there, Amy, she has studied all over the world. She studied shamanism in a lot of different cultures, and she heavy in the Lakota and Peruvian traditions. So I went through the medicine wheel there with her and 20 other women that were beautiful, and I learned so much, and I changed so much during the course of that, and I shared that whole journey on TikTok. And then I also did master's classes with her teacher, one of her teachers, Jose Luis Herrera, who's from Peru, from Cusco, who studied in the Amazon as an ayahuasquero for years, and then studied with one of the old shaman, Don Manuel Quispe, from the Curro people in the Andes Mountains in Peru. And so he traveled with him studying for years too. So he had a lot of boots on the ground, like real shamanism activity. Although he would even tell you his sector of shamanism is not to work on people, it's to teach. So we all have our different roles. One of mine is to share my story while I'm doing all that. So that's what I've done. Everyone always asks how I read tarot, and what I know now is I'm not sourcing from your ancestors per se. I'm reading your auric field. Each of us has an auric field in our energy field around us that contains information about you or yourself, or other people, or your past lives or anything. So that's just there to be plucked. If you've ever been at work and you've been singing a song and you can't get out of your head, and then the guy next to you is like, oh my gosh, that was my wedding song. It was in his auric field. You were in his proximity, so that's how you're reading it. So we use all of our clairs to experience the auric field: clairsentience, clairvoyance, claircognizance, and clairaudience. And so I think we don't realize how much we're doing it, right? So I would argue it in my astrology, and my human design would argue, I'm a projector, but I'm so Libra with my Libra stellium. I'm literally like a blank slate. I'm like an energetic Switzerland. So that's why I love being able to do tarot, because I know none of it's mine, because I really don't have my own opinions. If you know anyone with a Libra stellium, especially mine's in my Sun, Mercury, and Venus, I don't really have a lot of opinions. So, yeah, it's really fun. And then learning the meaning of the cards, that's just more subcontext. The more different meanings you can learn, and the more different tarot readers you can watch and study and see what they use. I've adapted some of my meanings. So one of them, if I get more than one king when I'm reading on a masculine person, especially in a love reading, for that same energy, I will know that they are attracted to both genders, So, there's just some, whether they know it or not. And I got that from Tyler's tarot. There's just little weird things that you pick up from different tarot readers, if they resonate, that you can add to your practice. So the world's your oyster when it comes to tarot. There's really no rules. And if people don't like the way you read, they can go get readings from someone else. But this is just me. I do share the textbook meanings in the class that I put together. But I also am going to go through in these videos and share my personal meanings, whether they're crazy, right, wrong, or different. They're just what I usually read as, and people seem to like that. So I love you. Enjoy. Oh my God, I almost forgot to say, I got my start on saying don't fucking text them. I said it one day, and then I couldn't stop saying it. And for a while, if you guys followed me during that time, when I literally I would say it, or if I wouldn't say it, people would be messaging my noon and being like, I'm gonna text them, you have to say something. So that was my world for a while. I did step away from it just because it got annoying. But I will tell you that if it's in your reading, but not just in general. Some of you need to open your mouth and say something. I think when I said that the most, it was because I was actually in an avoidant place about dating, or I was in an anxious place and I didn't know how to stand in my light. But you can fucking text them sometimes. You just don't want to do it instead of going within. Usually the answers are within you. They're not external, and you don't need to chase people down. Okay, I love you. Goodbye.